What's up, lads? Today is January 15th. It's late, but I want to get a video out because I want to do these once a day during the week, and we got something to talk about. Today, we're talking about money. That's why it's green in here. And also, I just can't be fucking bothered to change the lighting. So, money. Money makes the world go round. I think this is something that if you're of working age, you might already know this, but I wanted to talk about how money makes the world go round. Yes, but it also is a bit of a double-edged sword because money is not everything. So I started working at 17. I'm almost 22 now. And when I started working, I was making about I think I was making 19 an hour. I got the hookup. I worked for my dad, so I was making pretty good money for a fucking 17-year-old making 19. That's pretty good. And I was working construction. I did that, and I kept doing that, and I kept doing that, and I worked my way up the corporate ladder until eventually I was just like, this fucking sucks, and I want to kill myself, so I'm not doing this anymore. So that experience was, well, one, being at such a young age. I stopped when I was like 19. I was almost 20. I stopped when I was 19. Growing up that young, doing like manual labor, it definitely taught me a few things. It taught me, once you do that for so long, anything else is kind of easy. Like, I feel like I can do most jobs. Obviously, like, not everything, right? I mean, there's still roofing. Fuck that. I wouldn't want to do roofing or concrete work. But for the most part, like most other jobs, I've had a few part-time jobs, I've had a few other things, and I'm like, this shit's light work compared to that. So I think that definitely helped kind of set a foundation of like hard work for me, a hard work ethic, which is really nice, really helpful. The other thing was I got treated like shit because I was young and I was making the same amount of money as a lot of other people, and that kind of sucked. Usually, if you're like the youngest at your job, I often am, or I have been for the like last two like big jobs I've been at. The construction job and my last job where I was doing like VR testing. Youngest at both of those jobs. But there was a big shift when I was in construction. Everyone just hated my fucking guts because I was young and I was making like good money, and I think they knew that. And it just got to a point where that, on top of the hard work, on top of a bunch of shit, I was just like, I'm not cut out for this, man. Like, this is not what I want to do. The biggest thing that got to me was I felt like my brain was not being like stress tested enough. I felt like I was just doing like easy work, you know, because construction is, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of like precision that has to go into it a lot of time, especially if you set up like containments and things like that. But it was I mean, it's manual labor. It's pretty easy shit. So after that, I was like, okay, I need to get a new job. And at the end of working in construction, I was making 24 an hour. At 19, I was making 24 an hour, which is pretty fucking good for a 19-year-old with no fucking degree or no anything. I had like certifications and shit, which was nice, helped me definitely get some more money. But besides that, like, I just grinded it out. I just kept climbing the ladder until eventually I was just like, fuck this, I'm out. Did that. And then I took a massive pay cut, and I did like the VR testing job. I took a massive pay cut, and I was making, I want to say I was making $17.50 when I first started. And going from making 24 an hour to making $17.50, I was just like, wow, this kind of sucks. This kind of really sucks. You don't realize how much money like impacts your life until you have a lot of it, and you don't. But I made do, and I was still able to pay all my bills. I was still able to like afford to go out and stuff, but I was basically living paycheck to paycheck. It was not fun. Growing up, I would say I didn't have a lot of money. I would say I came from like middle class to lower middle class growing up. Probably like lower middle class growing up. We weren't like, you know, we weren't like poor, but we were broke. Like my mom was broke a lot of the time. There's a difference there. Being poor is a permanent thing. Being broke is a temporary thing. And we were broke a lot of the time. But my mom still made Christmas work. She still made all that shit work. It was great. My birthdays, everything. It was still a good time. But yeah, I mean, definitely like I didn't ask my mom for money. I didn't ask her for a whole lot unless I really needed something because I was just like, I'm probably not gonna get it. Um, so that kind of made me that definitely like taught me the value of the dollar bill, I would say, growing up, and the importance of it. But also working that job made me realize it's not everything, you know, because I took a massive pay cut. And I will say, when I took that massive pay cut, did the money drop and suck? Yes. But that job was so much better. Like, I still have friends from that job because the people there, like the actual work, it was great. It was amazing. It was a fun time. And working in construction, it was the complete fucking opposite. Everyone hated me, and the work fucking sucked. So, total polar opposites. But yeah, growing up, we definitely did not have the most money. And now I would say I'm living like middle, upper middle, you know? So we've gained a step there. But even then, like I'm still grateful for like everything I have, you know? I'm not a big like things person. I don't need a lot of stuff. I don't think as a human you need a lot of stuff. You come into this world with nothing and you're gonna leave with nothing as well. So at the end of the day, all your stuff is temporary. People who get upset about, you know, their $100,000 car getting scratched or whatever it is, like, don't get me wrong, like I can get it to an extent, right? But if you're like livid about that stuff, it's like it's all cosmetic, it's all materialistic shit, you know? It's going away eventually. And even then, you're just gonna be prolonging the inevitable when it comes to, you know, scratching up or dirtying your stuff. Like, it is what it is. It's gonna get fucked up eventually. I've seen some really like money hungry people and also some really very like obnoxious, snobby with their money people, if that makes sense. I grew up in a really fucking, it was funny. I grew up in like a rich part of town, but I was not rich. We were like on the poor side of the rich town. Um, and because of that, I went to school with a bunch of rich kids, and I was not rich. And luckily I made some really good friends, who they were like wealthier, but I wouldn't say they're like rich. So seeing like some of the rich kids, some of their parents, it was just like, holy shit, I can see where this person's like priorities are at. And a lot of the time it was just like nice shoes, nice cars, things like that. And I never really had that luxury until later in life when I started working, you know, I started to be able to buy my own shit, which don't get me wrong, I definitely value that stuff. But at the end of the day, if it was all ripped from me, I'd be like, it is, you know, it is what it is. But it's just kind of gross. It is gross the way that money affects people and the way that money makes people look at other people as products or dehumanizes them. It's kind of disgusting. I can think of one person in particular who was very like just extremely money driven and extremely loud about their it was just being loud with their money, you know. And I remember I used to see those videos where it'd be like person who thinks they're rich versus person who's actually rich. And you know, the person who's like quote unquote rich has like nice shoes, nice car, you know, dresses super nice, but is very like loud and designer, like flashy. And I just can't fucking stand that shit, man. The designer clothes, all that stuff. It's just really, I just hate it. I fucking hate it. Cause you're not buying quality to a certain extent. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that stuff is good. It's good quality. But you're buying that stuff for the brand, right? So when it comes to like Gucci and fucking Louis Vuitton, And fucking, what else? There's like Bape, Supreme. That's not even like really in now. Supreme is kind of fucking out. But you know, shit like that, where it's just like the expensive designer brands. A lot of the time, it's just to present an idea to the people that you're like interacting with, and it's really fucking obnoxious, man. It's really obnoxious. I was working this restaurant job this last summer, and I had a few customers come in, and this fucking woman with her little yappy ass dog comes in, like in her fucking like her purse is like just stuffed in there. And she was just the most rude, obnoxious asshole ever. And it's like, why are they always like that? You know? Every single fucking time, they're always like that. And this is speaking from someone who's grown up around a lot of these people because, like I said, growing up in the rich part of town, you see this all the fucking time. And it's just gross, man. It's really, really gross. And it makes me really sad because it's like, what makes you think that you're better than me just because you have more money? At the end of the day, a person's value is not based on how much money they make, what kind of shoes they wear, what kind of clothes they wear, what kind of car they drive, none of that. A person's value is based on how they treat other people. If you treat other people great and you treat yourself great, your value is going up. If you treat people like shit and you talk down to me because you make more money than me, you can go fuck yourself. And I will not stand for that shit. That's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Money is a very powerful thing. It can be a very useful thing, very helpful thing, but it can also skew other people's perspectives on just like other people and, you know, shit like that. Just treating them like dirt, and it's fucking disgusting. So, anyways, that's all I had today. Glad I was able to get this video out. This one might be a little bit longer, but I hope y'all are cool with that. I'll be back for tomorrow to talk about something else. Who knows? And then I'm taking a break on the weekend. Adios, boys. Take care.